Could you stop spawning here, please? I've killed you so many times. You can tell because the other corpse is there because I didn't loot it. So it just spawns a dude in the same spot to antagonize you at the respawn point. Like that one time at the Lost Bastille in Dark Souls 2. Where it's just like, hey, you know how fireplaces are safe? Bonfires are safe? Joke's on you.
Kaya will help with the experiment.
She will? And is she ready now?
Why don't you ask yourself?
You're not the only mage, Kaya. I'm certain of my findings. 90% certain. 60 or 70% at worst. But if we pull it off, who's to know we were ever worried? Everything is ready. We can begin immediately.
You should begin the experiment now.
So be it. Keep your distance. This could be dangerous for anybody close by.
Oh, Jax, I'm mad at you. I'm mad at you again. Keep your distance. This could be dangerous for anyone close by. And he's standing right there and he gets KO'd. And then Kaya gets kidnapped because he's an idiot that can't follow instructions. What the fuck is wrong with you? Also, that dude just happened to be here at this exact moment and just has teleport technology we've never seen before and is just ready to casually kidnap the right person as if he just... Did he just know that the shockwave was going to happen? The contrivances in that scene were like, frustrating. You done fucked up, man.
We failed. We were close, but Zarda must have known what we were planning. I can't try again alone. Even if we can find Kaya, it would take weeks to recalibrate everything before attempting that again. We must move to attack the Ice Palace as soon as we can. If they are this intent on stopping us, the hybrid must be close to achieving his plans.
What about Kaya?
Kidnapping her has stopped me making any further progress with my plans. But then killing her would also have stopped the transmutation. So why did he kidnap her? Zarda must have seen the same power in Kaya that you did. He must be planning to use that power for himself in some way.
He was interested in her. He asked me to find her. That can't be a coincidence. Where do you think Zardom has taken Kaya?
Zakor. His ambition has always been to take command there. He seeks a chance to rule. So, he'll want to keep an eye on things in the Ice Palace. He will be close to there.
What if Zardom wasn't responsible for your failure? What if something else stopped your transmutation?
His intervention is the only thing that makes sense.
You don't seem certain.
The only other explanation is that ELEX itself was resisting the transformation. But that's not probable.
Not probable or not possible?
Resistance would imply purpose, consciousness. And ELEX is a substance, not an entity. It isn't alive.
Kaya thought ELEX could be alive.
What are you talking about?
She said that's what she felt. That ELEX is more than a substance, that it communicated with her. Couldn't that be what went wrong?
What you're saying is impossible. Kaya is able enough when it comes to magic, but she's misinterpreted what she's seen. I've run experiments on ELEX, studied it for years, and I've seen nothing to indicate that what you're saying is true. How could Kaya just stumble on something like this in the time she's had?
What will you do now that the experiments failed?
We must take the fight to the hybrid. It seems an assault on the Ice Palace is the only way to end this war. We will see each other again in Zakor. You said that we are fighting for the same cause. So, we must take that fight to the hybrid. And, for the hope of all Magalan, we must be victorious.
I have so many issues right now. First of all, we have the super overdone trope issue of like having the female secondary character that has magical powers that are key to accomplishing the plan, but then she gets damseled when it's time to do the plan. Boy, have I never seen this before. And it's not like kind of just a lazy thing to lean on. But then you have the issue of like, she has revelations about the nature of ELEX and how it might be sentient or something like that. And you don't bother to bring that up or mention that at all when you're doing the biggest, most crazy ELEX thing ever with Thorold. Like, what if that alters the plan? What if that changes everything? What he's like, oh shit, well in that case we gotta do this and stuff like that. Like, no, you're just gonna casually just not mention that while doing this massive transmutation of all ELEX into mana ever. What? And also, hey, maybe if you're doing earth-shattering things, maybe you should use that, I don't know, that massive faction that you control at some point, and not be in a giant empty place that's full of monsters with 0 guards, not a single spectator, no one is here, period. It's just me, Kaya, and him. You have a whole faction, what's wrong with you? You're doing the most important, craziest thing ever, and you don't even bother with, like, a couple guards? Really? It's like, oh no, Jax got knocked over for 5 seconds, time to kidnap Kaya. Like, this whole thing about how he's the quote-unquote pilgrim or whatever, and he wanders off in the middle of nowhere, it all feels like a band-aid that was retroactively put on the story to explain why he's in the middle of nowhere and no one's here, so that that scene could happen where Kaya gets kidnapped. Because he's not really... he doesn't seem to be doing anything. He's taken like 5 shots of whiskey in the last minute. That's the main thing, and he keeps heating his hands at the fire that doesn't exist. But aside from that, he's not doing anything here. He's not researching. He's not going anywhere. He's just sitting in one place all the time with no guards, even though he's presumably he might be the most important person in the entire game. And he's just fucking sitting there. Like, nothing about him works for me. I was waiting to meet this character and see how he's going to work in the plot, and it all just seems to be like a massive pile of contrivances and conveniences that just make the story work, and that none of it makes sense in the world necessarily. And it's like, now that I've seen why, now that I've seen that scene and I know why all this is set up this way, I'm like, god damn it, it was just so that that kidnapping could happen. Let's go save Kaya from Zardom. Step 1 being to go exactly to where he's been before and see if we can just shoot him in the face with an arrow. Have we seen teleporters before in this game? I feel like that tech just came out of nowhere with no warning. I will be shocked if he is here, because he wasn't before.
I know you're here, Kallax. Show yourself so we can end this.
Where is the tactical skill that had the hybrid ready to appoint you one of the chosen? There you stand in the open, ready to be picked off. How vulnerable your feelings have made you.
What brought you here, Kallax? I sent you one message, and you came running.
So, you know about our past? Wardic should have kept our secret. I will not let you spread the story further. I will keep my honor.
That sounds like emotion to me, Kallax. Fear, anger, confusion. Which of those drove your attempt to murder me?
Murder? You failed your mission. The directive is clear. Failure of a mission is punishable by execution. Is that why you really came here, Jax? Are you ready to die?
You failed your mission. So it's time for you to be executed. Remember? Are we just still not acknowledging that? We're still just pretending that you're not up for execution for failing to kill me on your mission?
What did you mean, appoint me to the chosen?
All Albs the hybrid sees as having Alexitor potential have a biocore chip implanted to maximize their efficiency. They and others he sees the potential in. We have been selected to serve his future, to ensure the future comes to pass. You had been chosen to evolve to the next level. The hybrid had even had you implanted with a chip ready to communicate with you, so he could guide your thoughts.
If I have a chip, then why hasn't the hybrid ordered me back to Zakor? How can I have my free will?
Because you got lucky. Your chip must have been damaged when I attempted to execute you. That is the only explanation.
Convenient that your proof has been destroyed.
Tell me, Jax, do you never see images you can't explain? Visions?
Yes.
Some of those will be memories. Others are thoughts that spring from your connection to the hybrid. He sees the future, the plans of the free people. All of Magalan and some of those visions will have leaked into your mind through the chip.
I must speak to the hybrid directly. What is the code to his chamber?
Only Elexitors can be told that. You are no Elexitor.
I know the code has something to do with the hybrid's past, but all I know of his past is that the Alps found him, that he showed our leaders the future and took control of our people.
The past is irrelevant. All that counts is the future.
God, one good thing, one bad thing. So first of all, yeah, hey, explanation for the whole things that we thought were flashbacks, but then some of them weren't flashbacks because we're not in them. So it's like, how do we have those memories? Apparently, now we know. It's actually explained in the story. It's not a weird inconsistency. Good to know. But then they say something stupid. They're Zakor and the Alps, and there's this big, massive thing, and they need to defend this hybrid, and it's a big deal to not let people in. And you're gonna tell me that the password to his chamber is like a goddamn security question? Like, what's his mother's maiden name? It's something you could learn about via like historical significance, and then you know the password to his chamber. Why would you do that ever? No, it should just be some number. What the fuck is wrong with you?
So why does the hybrid hide this? What is it about his past that he wants to stay hidden? You saw his past when you had an audience with him.
What I saw is irrelevant.
The universe, skies stretching to infinity. Does that relate to the code? You said Tarek talked about the old world. Is that a clue? Come on, Kallax. You know there is more to this. I know you wanted answers then. You must still want them.
I serve the directive. The law demands the death of those who learn it illegally.
So I'm right. It is something to do with his past, with what you saw.
The past is irrelevant.
Kallax, just call home. Just call home and say, hey, reset the password. It's not secure anymore. We're already past this level of technology. I could do it right now in like 30 seconds for my email address. It's easy. What the hell? It's the easiest thing to fix. If I learn it, then you can just change it. Because it's just a fucking digital code. Why would it? It doesn't have to have historical significance. Stop. You guys are stupid. Why are you so stupid? You're the villains of this world-spanning empire. God damn it.
You expect me to believe that you have never wondered about the code? It could be anything. It would be logical for it to be random. It would be efficient to change it, but instead the code remains the same and is rumored to link to his past. Doesn't that sound emotional? Why would he stick with something like that? It has to mean something.
You are allowing your own emotions to cloud your thinking.
Our world is in the hands of the hybrid. We should know what makes him who he is.
The past is irrelevant. All that counts is the future. The hybrid must achieve supremacy.
How long have you known that we are the children of berserkers?
I have always known. You were too young to remember, but I have always remembered the faces of my real parents. They too are irrelevant. We benefited from the fact we were taken from the berserkers.
So now they're acknowledging it. I really doubt they're gonna give me an answer that satisfies me though. Like, it's, even if it's supposed to be like a plot point to like, oh, he's, what, is he nostalgic? He has a nostalgic password. Does that mean he's emotional? Like, it doesn't change how stupid it is that you should just change a password if it's a security leak. Like, no. No, have a fucking like framed painting that says the number on it if you want it, if you like it so bad. It doesn't have to be the password just because you like it. That's crazy.
You are my brother. That must count for something.
Are you trying to provoke an emotional reaction? Emotions are a waste of energy. They cloud perception. You have come to me with the emotion and twisted logic of the free people. Listening to you any longer is a waste of time. I will end this here and now. You had your chance, but you let it pass. You will not step.
Nope. Hey, he's kind of hardy, isn't he? Neat. Kallax. You're being naughty, Kallax. Unfortunately for you, I have a flaming sword, Kallax. I really should have done this first. Yep. Gah.
The code is something to do with the hybrid's past. In the vision that Kallax saw, Kallax's reaction proves I'm on the right track, and it has something to do with the old world. Perhaps it might mean something to Harley. He knows a lot about old world installations.
All right, I gotta say I'm curious. I placed a save just in case. Probably this one would take me slightly before the conversation. I am curious to see if there is an option that actually works. So at long last, Kallax has been destroyed. All that hype leading up to a fight that, admittedly, he had a lot of health at least. He didn't go down in 2 hits like I suspected he might, which would have been a bummer. Oh boy, we have a lot of button pressing to press. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Well, at least they gave me the option, right? Alright, so here it is. Something is wrong with the hybrid. Committing yourself to him will only destroy you. I can't do that one because of cold value. You must remember your past explains who you are. We could see, but I don't think it'll change anything.
You must remember your past. It explains who you are.
Who I was has no impact on my decisions today. Only the hybrid and the future count. You have come to me with the emotion. Listening to you.
Yep. It went about the same way. Good to know.
That isn't going to work.
Oh, I'm out of energy. Awkward. Give me a second, I'm just gonna do that real quick. There we go. Oh, he has a gun. That's not very nice. So both of the options I have don't save him. Maybe the last one does, but you need to have you have to have a cold value that's way up there. It's interesting to me. He's gonna burn to death. There we go.
The code is something to do with the hybrid's past. In the vision that Kallax saw, Kallax's reaction proves I'm on the right track, and it has something to do with the old world. Perhaps it might mean something to Harley. He knows a lot about old world installations.
So the suggestion seems to be that basically by becoming as far from Alb as possible and getting emotions high and everything like that, losing your cold value, you lose the ability to negotiate with Kallax, and it might be that if you have a high cold value this late into the game, that you might be able to stay with Kallax. But what is my value? Neutral. Yeah. I was curious because I think a lot of the choices I make do decrease my cold value oftentimes, but also I've had like 100 ELEX potions, and those are all supposed to be increasing my cold value. But it seems like the relatively infrequent dialogue choices that affect your cold value seem to be significantly outweighing anything that's been gained by my potion usage. So unless there's a completely different approach that doesn't have anything to do with those 3 dialogue options, it seems like I am pretty I'm pretty on rails for him being dead. I also got a kick out of him being like, I know you're there, Kallax. Show yourself. And the camera just pans up because he was just standing in the roof in plain sight. That was really funny. Oh, this password plot point's gonna be really stupid. It's gonna be really stupid. Ah. Are you in here? Oh, it's Kaya, just sitting there.
I knew Zardom must have brought you here.
The feel of this place is terrible. Where are we?
In Zardom's hideout, on the border between Abessa and Zakor.
That explains the disturbance in the ELEX.
Where is he? Where is Zardom?
I don't know. He hasn't been here for a long time.
Well, then he must have got what he wanted. That means he's gone to the Ice Palace.
That bastard paralyzed me and left me here. He must have planned that all along. Why didn't he just kill me?
He must have wanted to use your strength. It must have been part of his plan to regain his place in the Ice Palace. But you must have been too strong for him.
Well, why ever he left me alive, it was a mistake. I won't let him surprise me like that again. Thank you for looking for me.
Follow me.
Okay. I've got a bad feeling about this place.
You were just laying on the floor? First of all, if he didn't want you to die, he probably shouldn't leave like a semi-clothed person. Like, she's got jeans kind of, but like she's got like mostly yeah, she doesn't wear shoes, and she's got a light top, and he left her in the snow and paralyzed her and left her. It's like, if the plan wasn't for her to die, then that wasn't the best approach to avoid her dying. And she's not chained up, and yet did she happen to wake up and happen to not be paralyzed exactly when I got here, but not a moment before then? Because why wouldn't she just leave and try to go home if the paralysis wore off, which apparently it has? I didn't bring anything to cure her with. And she didn't get woken up by the big battle that just happened outside where I killed Kallax? None of that woke her up? What in the world? This story, what is happening? Let's go talk to Harley. Harley seemed like a minor dude that was just standing over in the corner of Origin, but he's turned out to be a really integral part of the main story, which I guess was true about Origin too. I just wandered over there one day and I was like, oh look, I'm at Origin, I guess. This place exists? I'm like, oh, this is like my base, apparently? Huh. And then it turns out to be like mandatory story progression. But I just stumbled into here one day. Probably like 50 episodes in or something.
You should go back to Origin.
Very well.
Actually, no, follow me. I'll just keep her with me. She's probably important to the story from here on out, and none of the other characters really are, so just as much as it's fun to have Crony around, I should probably stick with her.
I met with my brother Kallax, the Elexiter.
Ah, really? And you beat him, right? Then we should be happy you're not in pieces. I mean, that guy's a maniac, right?
My brother won't trouble us anymore. But this is far from over.
So, this is more than just a family feud. So what's the problem?
The Albs are led by the hybrid. It is him they serve. It is him they pledge their lives to. But I don't know why. I don't know what he is planning for the Albs, or for Magalan. Everything that happens, that has happened for generations, is because of the hybrid. Only he can answer my questions. Only he can end this war.
So, what are you planning?
If I am to get the answers I need, then I have to find a way to get to the hybrid in the Ice Palace. But that means I need to get the code to access his chamber.
Do you know where you can get it?
All that I know is the code has something to do with the hybrid's past, and has something to do with stars, the universe, infinite skies.
Infinite skies. Hey, that's something I've seen before in a couple of places. But where? Where? Yeah, I got it. There's an old industrial complex out to the southwest of Idan where I found some stuff that mentioned that. An old lab there. But, nah, forget it. Why would that have anything to do with the hybrid?
You mean the old world ruins at the foot of the mountain? Where I found the first replacement part for the Raider?
Yeah, that's the place. That's where I saw those words. It could be a coincidence, but weird, huh? I mean, maybe you can find the answer there.
Perhaps, but there's only one way to find out, and that means going there.
This is a nice place.
On one hand, it's good to know that all the setup and constant hints at this infinite skies thing, which was, I think, the attempt to save people plan, that probably was actually something else, because it's pretty much always something else whenever that happens. I'm glad that that is coming up and going somewhere. But on the other hand, I'm just really frustrated by the idea that this entire story hinges on the idea that the big bad boss won't change his door code. It's just too stupid. It's too stupid. All right, let's go talk to the Separatists. Because we're supposed to be best buddies. Well, we gotta figure out if we can get them to act loyally. And I should talk to my dad about murdering my brother. Well, him attacking me. He could have just not, but he decided to do that. So that's where we lay. I make Kaya run around a lot with bare feet. Didn't really fully realize how barefoot she was, or if I did, I forgot. But then she fell over in that cutscene where she gets kidnapped. I'm like, oh yeah, she's just not wearing shoes. It's a lot of running around to do. I guess she has tough feet. I don't know. Oh, is my dad gone? All right.
Have you seen Wardeck, my father?
I thought he was traveling with you. I don't know where he is now.
I'm ready to attack the Ice Palace.
You have achieved much, but I am still to understand your intentions.
What do you mean?
Which side are you fighting for? Are you fighting against the hybrid? Or are you only motivated by your need to revenge yourself against the Alexiters?
This is not about sides. Ending this war is in everyone's best interest.
But what are your intentions for the hybrid? Will you admit that he seeks to control the destiny of the Alps? We will only fight alongside you if you share our interests. The hybrid goes, the old directives must be restored. Tell me your intentions.
The hybrid's rule must end. There's no other way to finish this.
Then we stand with you. I will order final preparations to begin. We will meet again in Zakor. Victory will be ours.
That was great.
This decision will have far-reaching consequences. Probably, but I have no way of talking to the hybrid or learning about the hybrid, really, so this ongoing thing, except unless this Infinite Skies thing is the way to learn it. Ah, shit. That could be a problem. Like, generally, the hybrid's a completely off-camera character. I've only seen him in one cutscene. So I've got this constant issue where I just don't know, like, what his goal is. Aside from what, you know, all of his enemies tell me. Which, a lot of them seem to agree. And then what the Albs seem to claim. So if there's a revelation to be had about a secret plan that's actually a good thing, and I'm a bad guy for stopping him, then, well, I haven't had a chance to know that yet. Give me your natural ELEX. Oopsie. Gimme. It's time to pop right back into this place again. Just gotta find our way underground again. Am I misremembering something, or did we already know about this place and it being the Infinite Skies location? I think that's the case, in which case the idea that I had to go to Harley and be like, have you ever heard about this Infinite Skies thing? And he'd be like, no, wait, no. Huh? I don't know, man. Maybe I've heard of it before. I'm not sure. Maybe it's over there. Nah, it can't be. Whereas, like, me as the player, I'm like, I've heard Infinite Skies over and over and over and over and over and over again. And I've been to the Infinite Skies facility as a mandatory part of the previous story bit, and I instantly recognize the phrase, whereas my supposed source that sends me here is, like, not even entirely sure and has to kind of jog his memory because he's not sure if he even remembers Infinite Skies. And I'm like, what? Are you serious right now? Why do I need Harley for that plot point?
And here's the place Harley said he found reference to Infinite Skies, an old world complex built to hide something from the outside world. Infinite Skies, a corporation that worked on secret research in the old world. They say the hybrid saw the day the comet struck, that he survived. It must be true. Here he was, holed up and hidden in a device of his own making in order to protect himself from the impact, saved from the fires, but changed by the ELEX. A man become mutant. All that had possessed him while he was a man was the thought of surviving the disaster that was to come. He tried to prepare a select group, those who would be welcomed to the Infinite Skies. A chance to leave the planet, to avoid destruction. But the plan failed. The government failed to listen to him. He had failed to save them. All he wanted to do was survive. So here he hid. Here he survived. But what did he become? ELEX flooding his body. His hunger for it grew. His mind opened. He became more dependent on it. But what was this man? Who was it that became the hybrid that rules Zacor today? Dr. Adam Charles Dawkins. Immortal. Inaccessible. All-powerful. The pinnacle of evolution. Still driven by the need to survive, he began to see the future. He saw the future then. But what of now? Can the hybrid truly see the future? What does he want for himself? Survival? Safety? A future for us? There is only one way to know. I must speak to him, secured with a password that referred to the name its human form once took. Now I can reach him. His name, Dr. Adam Charles Dawkins. Now I know the code to the hybrid's chamber. I should use it. Perhaps I will finally get the answers I am seeking.
How did you... What just happened? How did you know all that? Did you already know all that? Did they forget to put a thing in the environment that would give you that information, so he just, like, nonsensically monologues all this information to himself, and it's just implied that he found it somewhere in here? Why didn't I find it last time I was here? Am I misremembering something? Because we were here already, right? Wasn't that a mandatory part of the story when we came here last time? Why didn't I find this information last time? Why am I only finding it now? I could have had this information before making a choice with the Separatists. If they just gave it to me last time I was here, I don't know any reason why they wouldn't just give it to me then. In fact, the poster was there. I looked at it. I read it. I listened to his audio logs and stuff. Did they forget that they used this place twice for 2 different story missions? This is the most bizarre story structure for this game. Like, I've been here yeah, I've been here before. I saw... What in the world? And even if it makes sense story-wise, like, the way it's executed is baffling because you never see, like, a scene where my character gains this information. He came here to gain this information. He stops in an empty room staring at nothing and just says, "I know everything now," without actually finding anything. Like, what? What? Nothing about that scene's, like, execution, like, made any sense? What is happening? The last flight and the Ice Palace. So can I go talk to him? Is the idea that do I have to choose whether I side with the Separatists before I even can talk to him still? I think that even now I have to set up to do the actual final confrontation first, so you have to make your call in advance without knowing what his plan is. In which case, yeah, all signs point to like, he's a dick. Let's stop him, obviously.
I have the code to the hybrid's chamber.
Then you're going to try and get in.
If we can make it into the Ice Palace, then it is time to confront him. The hybrid planted a control chip in my head. If it worked, he could have told me to kill myself at any time, but the failed attempt to execute me must have damaged the chip instead. That means I can get to him. Then maybe I can find out what he really wants.
Aye. Every time you make this personal, I get pissed at you. This is about more than just you egomaniac.
I'm sorry, I guess I just got under the assumption that I have to do everything based on the last, like, 50 hours of me doing everything, you know? Because that's been largely what's been happening. I've just been single-handedly taking down every single commander behind enemy lines with the grand total of backup of one probe dude floating around with me. But no, yeah, let's pretend that everyone has equal share in this, because you worked on this for a bit. Congrats. Like, yeah, sure, I'm acknowledging that, yeah, he's like the one character. He's like one of the only characters that actually does something. It's like him and the Pilgrim are like the two people that have a specific job to do. Well, the Pilgrim has failed so far. But damn, it's like, wow, yeah, why would Jax think he has to do everything? It's almost like he keeps doing everything while everyone else stands still. Yeah.
Alright, so this is where we're up to. I've completed everything. I'm just waiting for you to finish the raider.
You just tell me when you're good to go, and I'll have it ready.
It's time for the big boom.
I wish we had more time to spend here. Maybe after it's all over.
So is the game over? The last flight. To enter the Ice Palace, I must use my raider to take out the shield barrier. This should be possible if I shoot the ventilation port or the shield generator directly in front of the Ice Palace. Harley should have a progress report on the raider repairs. I should only use the raider when I've completed all the preparations needed to reach the Ice Palace. Harley will tell me when it's ready. I think it's over. I think that's the game ending. In which case, I might as well cash in any money I can to get more ELEX or ELEX, and see if I can get that 85 Constitution for the upgraded shield skill, maybe, and maybe I'll even be able to equip my better shield that's sitting here. Kalan's Bulwark. Oh, I can get that right now. Oh, it actually has less defense, doesn't it? Oh, it has a socket, though. Well, less damage, not less defense. I guess do they have equal defense, or is there even a defense stat in this game for shields? But does 20 resist poison, and probably looks better than my garbage shield that looks like a piece of it just looks like garbage. An incredibly strong force field of the shield is rather unusual. The hollow generators used in its construction are typically only found in gliders. I mean, it looks cool. It looks more cool than the scrap I've been running around with, so I'll take it for that reason. But maybe I'll poke around to see if there's a more faction-appropriate shield